So I was thinking we should do that one Pierce Brosnan movie, the one where he's got, his shirt off through most of it.
Taylor of Panama.
Well, he's in the Caribbean.
Goldeneye.
No.
Die Another Day.
No, the other one.
Mamma Mia?
No, not that one.
No, I know. Mamma Mia 2. Here we go again.
I don't think that's it.
Oh.
Ladies and gentlemen, please notice that exits are conveniently located at the front and rear of this auditorium. When leaving the theater, we suggest that the exit at the front of the auditorium will allow you easier access to the parking areas. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Mike Field.
I'm Mike Butler.
And you're listening to Forgotten Cinema. Each episode, we highlight a film that, for a variety of reasons, was forgotten by audiences. Whether it be because a more popular movie was released at the same time, or the film simply didn't catch on with an audience in its initial run. We'll discuss what we love about the film, maybe don't love about it, but we'll always recommend you revisit it. If you enjoy Forgotten Cinema, we want to hear from you. We're on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. We are available on all platforms with a backlog of over 200 episodes for your listening pleasure. What's going on, Butler, as I toot for some reason?
What's going on?
Yes.
All right. Listen to me.
I'm listening.
There is a Napoleon Diamond, the third Napoleon Diamond, on a cruise ship in the Caribbean right now, right off the coast of the Bahamas. I say we go down there, we sneak into the ceiling, we grab it through the glass, we escape, and we live out our best life in the Caribbean, never to be seen again.
All right. So let's get into the facts. We'll get into the movie, and we will have some fun. After the Sunset has a runtime of 97 minutes. It's rated PG-13. Production budget was $60 million. It came out on Friday, November 12th, 2004. So kind of a Thanksgiving-ish, holiday-ish film. That's
a wish to be warm kind of movie.
Definitely. Opening weekend, it did $11.5 million. Domestic, $28 million. International, $34 million, for a worldwide total of $62 million. So not great. Yeah. Distributor was New Line Cinema. So I said it came out on the 12th of November. Let's go back a week to the 5th, where you had a wide release of The Incredibles. Obviously.
That's
big film.
That's wrecking stuff.
You also had the remake of Alfie with Jude Law. The 10th, the Wednesday. So this is not just the 5th. Now the 10th, the Wednesday opening of the Polar Express as well. So right there after the Sunset is kind of...
So parents couldn't go to the theater by themselves to begin with.
Well, they had to go twice now. They had to go see The Incredibles and the Polar Express. So
they had no money to go see.
Odds are they weren't going to go see After the Sunset. So After the Sunset came out on the 12th. It went up against Seed of Chucky and a limited release of Finding Neverland and Kinsey. And then the 19th, the week after, you had a wide release of SpongeBob SquarePants movie and National Treasure, and then a limited release of Bridget Jones, The Edge of Reason. Now, that's the third one, correct?
I believe so. Yeah, this movie should not have come out when it came out.
Well, we can get to that. Well, I was remarking on the fact that I thought the Bridget Jones movies were much earlier. I didn't realize the third one was like 2004. I didn't realize they were that old.
Yeah. Me neither.
All right, so this film is directed by Bret Ratner, who has also done Red Dragon, Rush Hour, and the Rush Hour series. He did all three, right?
I believe he did all three.
And his last one was Hercules. Obviously.
He did do The Family Man, which we did cover on this podcast.
He did The Family Man, which you did cover, and he hasn't done much since, and you probably know why as much as we know why. Story screenplay was Paul Zbyszewski. He's in the TV show Lost, TV show Snowpiercer, and the TV show Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And when I say he's done them, he's written episodes for them. He produced some of those episodes. I think he's part of the series run. Screenplay was Craig Rosenberg, who's done the TV show Preacher and The Boys, and the movie Uninvited. Cinematographer was Dante Spinati, who was nominated for 2 Oscars, one for The Insider and the other for L.A. Confidential. He also did Heat, which we love here on the show. Composer was Lalo Schifrin, who's won nominated for 6 Oscars. Sting 2, The Amityville Horror, The Fox, among others, Cool Hand Luke. Edited by Mark Helfrich, who's done the Jumanji series and the Predator movie. Produced by Beau Flynn, Jay Stern, and Trip Vincent. Flynn has done San Andreas, Rampage, and he was an executive producer on Requiem for a Dream. Jay Stern has done Horrible Bosses, I think both, and he did Rush Hour 3. And then Trip Vincent has done Ready or Not, which is a really good film, and Guardian. This movie doesn't have a big cast, which kind of surprised me. I thought it did, but it didn't. Pierce Brosnan as Max Burdett, who's in the Thomas Crown Affair, Mamma Mia, as we said in our video opening.
And Mamma Mia 2.
Oh, here we go again. And he's obviously James Bond in about 4 or 5 films. I'm not sure how many. You probably know offhand.
5.
There you go. I said 4 or 5. Selma Hayek as Lola Cirillo. Well, nominated for an Oscar for Frida. She's also in Wild Wild West and Desperado. Woody Harrelson as Stan Lloyd. He's in the TV show Cheers, Now You See Me, and Champions. The reason why you're getting that is because the last Woody Harrelson movie we did, the last couple Woody Harrelson films we've done, I've just listed all the movies he's nominated for an Oscar for. So I decided to find different films for this one.
Also, Pierce Brosnan was 4 movies.
Oh, no.
I was wrong. Retcon.
Great. Don Cheadle as Henry Moore. Or Moray, as he's known, as he puts the little thing over the E in this film. He's nominated for an Oscar for Hotel Rwanda. He was on the TV show House of Lies, and he's also in the Oceans series, Oceans 11, Oceans 12, Oceans 13.
He's also in the Captain Planet skits on Funny or Die, which are very funny.
Yep, and he's in The Family Man. Mm-hmm. Naomi Harris as Sophie, nominated for an Oscar for Moonlight. She's also in Skyfall. She's in much of the Daniel Craig James Bond films.
Yep,
and she's also in 28 Days Later. And then Chris Penn, you see him for 2 minutes. He has Rowdy Van. He's in there somewhere. Reservoir Dogs, Footloose, True Romance. Then you had Michael T. Williamson in there as an agent. Jeff Garlin was in there as one of the
couples that they're trying to have friends Harris.
With. Yep. You saw a couple of people in there that you recognize when they were seeing their couple friends because they're obviously Pierce Brosnan and Selma Hayek are on
they're retired
Caribbean,
on the Caribbean. Yeah,
we haven't done. I know we said this last time or a couple episodes ago. We really haven't done a breakdown of the story or the plot. We should do that. We should kind of we should go back to that because sometimes we just get right into the movie.
Well, a couple weeks ago, you were saying it was good that we did it because we get right into it.
I changed my mind. So you got that ready?
Get that ready? No, I don't have that ready.
We'll get that ready. Let's go.
Having already in their possession 2 of the rare Napoleon diamonds, the masterful jewel thief Max Burdett and his seductive partner in crime, Lola Cirillo, decide to retire in the sun-kissed Bahamas. However, bent on keeping the precious third and last Napoleon diamond out of Max's clutches, the maladroit FBI
big word for you there, buddy.
Stan Lloyd follows them to the tropical haven, convinced that the intrepid duo is planning the next heist, stealing the last fabulous gem being displayed on the island. But is this truly Max and Lola's intention? Above all, after a successful and lucrative career in crime, how hard can it be to resist the temptation of one more job?
All right, so now you kind of get an idea what the movie's about, which we haven't done before this season. So good things we went back. I think it's good that we go back to that. I think we should. I changed my mind, so we should go back to that.
Okay.
So what do you mean I look for?
I don't know, because it was just bust out of nowhere. I had to say this stupid story.
That's how we work here, brother. That's how we do these.
I had to say the word maladroit.
I'm sorry that you have to say big time vocabulary words. I apologize.
Brain not good.
All right, so I don't even know what my history is with this film. Last episode, I think we talked briefly about what this movie and what we're gonna do, and I think I said I watched it. I think I said I remembered it. I remember talking about, I remember that part when they're walking on top of the compound. That was not this movie. That was To Catch a Thief. So I clearly already I've confused this film with the movie that it's basically kind of repeating.
Mm-hmm.
So I was way off. I couldn't even tell you if I've seen this film before. I didn't remember a lot of it. So I don't think this is a first watch. I just think I just didn't pay attention when I first watched this. But what is your history with After the Sunset?
I know there was a Friday where my father rented the movie and we watched it and I found it enjoyable. And then I kind of forgot about it.
All right.
And then this is like the top of our list, this movie, because you couldn't remember the title for it, Taylor of Panama,
which we have already done.
Which we did
last season.
You can go back and watch it
or listen.
More like yes, it's not really a video one. And you couldn't remember the name of it. You're like, it's Pierce Brosnan, and he's like this thief or something. And then there's this, and I'm like, okay. You talk about After the Sunset, and you're like, yeah, it's After the Sunset. So I wrote it down, and then the next day or 2 days later, you're like, yeah, it's not After the Sunset. It's something else. So then, like, eventually, down the line, we ended up putting down Taylor of Panama on the list. But After the Sunset is was number 1 or 2 on our big list of movies. Mm-hmm. And for people that don't know, we have a huge list of movies that we choose from that we've just been compiling all the time on a shared notes app. Yeah. So we had to get this done, but I remember seeing it. I remember enjoying it.
And now,
I still enjoy it. It's a fun movie. I think so. I don't think it's not like high cinema. There's definitely better heist movies, but it kept me entertained. It's an hour and 37 minutes, which is nice. It's got a nice length to it. I like the acting. I like the camaraderie the chemistry between the leads. So there's a lot of stuff I like. I like the island vibes. Like I said, I think it was released at the wrong time when it came out. But yeah,
well, I mean, I think that in terms of when it was released, I think what you said initially, that it was released at a time when people might want to think about going to
somewhere warm. Yeah.
Maybe January, February. Okay, sure. But I mean, I think it's around the time where it's kind of like a nice thought process. Kind of, it'd be nice to go there. You know?
Yeah. But then it's surrounded by just huge films, which doesn't help. Like finding Neverland and stuff like that. Like movies people still remember and are still like big, and like sandwiched between two kids movies where the parents aren't going to have the time or the money to bring their kids to, or bring themselves to the movies without the kids.
I also imagine it had a lot to do with Bret Ratner's, I guess star power. I'm sure he was, his movies were popular and doing well. And
this is like when like around Rush Hour 2. So.
Yeah. So I imagine that had a lot to do with it.
Well, the studios are probably like, Bret's putting out a movie. It's going to be good.
Totally. Not remembering my history with it and then watching it again. My biggest takeaway was I wish I would just I'd love to move there and just not do anything. But
so let me ask the question. Are you a sunset person?
I mean, I like to not do a lot. Like it would be enjoyable to have a full day of activity and then relax in the evening. Yes, I think I would be fine with that especially if I had a lot of money that I was living off of. Sure. I think I could be a sunset guy. So I could be a sunrise guy.
I'm a sunset guy. I couldn't be a sunrise guy, but a sunset guy.
I don't mind seeing the sun come up. But anyways, I don't know how I feel about this film. I'm not saying I don't feel Rango-ish. I'm just saying I just don't know if
I was gonna say, oh God, it's another Rango where there's no opinion one way or the other.
No. I'm just not sure. There wasn't a lot in it that I was like, oh, that's ridiculous. Oh, that's ridiculous. But there wasn't a lot in it that I was like, oh, it's really, yeah, okay, yeah. It was like, I think I said this to you. It was like candy.
Yeah, it's
like having a Snickers bar, and then you're just like, all right, I'm done.
That's kind of what I was trying to get at. Yeah, it's definitely like you like it when you watch it, but then it doesn't doesn't stay with you.
But I don't know if that's a good thing. I don't think I can sit here and say that's a good thing. Movie should, a movie should make some impact on your life at some point. Sure.
I think that's what every filmmaker would like. But I think it's nice every once in a while to just have that kind of piece of candy. Every once in a while, it's just like, all right, it's good. And then you can go into a movie like our next week's film, or I don't remember what the film was before we did this one.
Last week's film?
Yeah, what was last week's films?
It was Indecent Proposal.
Indecent Proposal. Like that's a heavy film, and then you get like you talk about all the time, like the Saturday night like double feature kind of movies.
Mm-hmm.
This is a good second movie. Like you watch something heavy, and it's like, all right, now let's watch something light for our second.
Right. But what I'm saying is that I don't even think it brings enough for that second light film.
Oh, I don't know. Because you have fun watching it.
I like watching Pierce Brosnan. I like Pierce Brosnan. I think he's very
charismatic.
Yep, that's what I was looking for. I was going to say cavalier.
I saw you were going the wrong way.
So I think he's very charismatic and he's really awesome on screen. And it's like, I just like leading men that look like a person, like on, you know what I mean? That doesn't have 85 abs and, works out.
You liked him with his shirt off.
Of course. Who doesn't? I mean, come on. I enjoy Pierce Brosnan. The only thing was like, there's like 8 makeout scenes. I'm undercutting this. They have like every conversation with him and Selma Hayek ends with them either kissing or making out or whatever. It's like, okay, we get it. You're in love. We understand. There was just a lot of that. And I almost feel like is that written in the script, or like as we're shooting this, we're just, you know what? And then just, you guys just like fall into bed together.
I was going to say, I don't want
to into the hammock together.
I don't want this to be a Bret Ratner roast, because I do like some of his movies, but I mean, that's
roast
kind
it.
of like,
do it.
That seems like his kind of, I don't know, say horn dog way, but yeah, I mean, from the
shoe fits.
Exactly. He's probably like, it'd be hot if you guys made out. I mean, you have two like very, very beautiful people. I mean, sex sells.
Sure. But okay.
I'm not disagreeing with what you're saying.
No,
I'm just trying to like figure out like why.
Right.
I think that's a reason, or to sell their relationship. Or maybe they were afraid they didn't have enough chemistry. So they were like, well, we'll believe it if you guys kiss
Yeah.
You got to seal it with a kiss because I'm not believing this conversation, or I'm not believing that you guys are a couple. So maybe they're like, all right, now kiss because I don't believe this conversation otherwise.
Yeah. And then the stuff with the relationship between Max, which is Brosnan's character, and Stan, which is Woody Harrelson's character. I don't really think they knew what they wanted to do with that. I think they had it in the beginning where there were rivals, obviously. Then Stan comes to the island because he's trying to get him, but then they become friends. It's still like, he's obviously Stan is trusting him towards the end. And then he reveals that he stole the diamond, that Max stole the diamond, and Stan doesn't trust him, but he was playing him the whole time. So they weren't friends.
Classic double cross. Well, I don't think the friend thing was wrong. I think they really did become friends.
Well, then
I don't not buy that.
Stan is leaving to sell the diamond.
Sure.
And Max is messing around with him again.
Because that's their game. That's their whole relationship.
But to me though, like,
okay.
I'm looking for growth at some point. If we're back to square one with that, Stan doesn't have a job anymore. Like my thing was thinking like, okay, you're not an FBI agent anymore. Who do you know that you're going to be able to hawk this $30 million diamond?
Oh, you don't think a guy who's been in that trade the whole time knows people just because of people he's dealt with?
Maybe. But he's gotten
burned too many times.
Maybe I need to see that, or maybe I need to have, I don't know.
That ruins a twist if you see it. Or you want a throwaway line where he's talking to a guy and like mentions how he busted him?
This is like a candy bar that it tastes really good when you're eating it. And then after a while, you're just like, okay, that's it. There's nothing else now.
You were also saying
no nutritional value. You've got nothing from it. And you just move on to the next candy bar.
Just the other day, you were saying that, everything's cyclical. So like you can have character development where they end up where they were at the beginning, as long as they went on a journey to begin with.
You're right.
And like Stan and Max did become better friends, and they were rivals. But I always, even though Stan shot him, I do think it was kind of like, maybe you should get a little bit more of that from the beginning, is that they were more cat and maybe that not like, oh, Stan's afraid of Max, but like that they have that cat and mouse kind of adversarial friendly relationship.
Well, then my question to you would be like, where in the movie, because you're saying at the end of the film, they become better friends. That's what you said, right? You're
by the end, yeah. I think they have more of an appreciation for each other. Yeah.
Where in the movie is that laid out to me? Like, where is that? Where do I get that sense from? Like, see what I'm trying to say. Like, where do they tell you that in the movie where I'm not making an assumption after the end of the film? Do you know what I mean? Like me and you are fighting back and forth, but you're saying like, oh, we're better friends after this episode. But no, but we're not revealing that we're better friends. That we're just fighting. You know what I mean? Like, where is that? How do I know that's true?
I mean, their relationship throughout the whole thing, they're very adversarial. Then he invites him to the boat. They're on the boat and they're like friendly band. Like he buys them the bridge in Atlantis, which the whole movie is kind of an advertisement for the Caribbean, especially the Atlantis
they
hotels.
shot there. They shot so.
Which the Atlantis Hotel is awesome. I didn't stay there, but I did go there once.
Very cheap.
The bridge is crazy expensive.
Please, of course.
But it's pretty cool.
Anything worth going is crazy expensive.
Yeah. Like, okay, Max buys him the bridge and like boom, boom, boom. So it's friendly. Okay. All right. So he's like the cat and mouse game, but they're kind of into that. Like, it's like, I'm going to catch you, but I got to catch you. I got to be better than you. Okay. Then Stan invites Max to the boat and they have their fishing trip. And I think that's where like the friendship kind of develops. They're talking, they're getting the sunscreen on each other. And then all of a sudden they catch the fish and they have a bonding, or the shark, they get a bonding
took those
moment.
photos again? That was the FBI took those photos?
I think that was the cops, the other cop who was jealous of him.
Yep.
So then they get those, they kill the shark. They have a bonding moment there and they kind of become a little bit more friendly and they talk to each other. And, Max calls Stan and is like, this is how I would steal the diamond if I was going to. And then, you kind of get it. It kind of goes off from there all the way up to their scuba diving trip at the end and helping each other with their love lives. And I just feel like that journey kind of does progress a little bit. And I'm not saying it's like this big grand thing, but you do see growth.
Okay.
At least in their friendship, not in terms of Max is always going to want to steal. And I don't buy at the end that he's okay watching sunsets now.
Oh, so you still think he's going to steal something?
Once a thief, always a thief. I don't think he's going to get rid of that. He might enjoy a few sunsets, but maybe not also. Maybe the gun against Selma Hayek's character's head is going to kind of steer him straight now. Maybe that scared him into realizing Lola said, maybe that's going to scare him into, I don't want to lose you. Let's just retire. That was a little too close.
Right.
Because I feel like he's a guy who's never gotten that close to losing before.
Bret Ratner describes this film as, quote, it's a heist movie that is a combination of great relationships, heart, and comedy. So you're saying that you agree with that?
I don't know if it has heart. I mean, I enjoy the buddy friendship, but I mean, they're still kind of, they're all scumbags in the movie in the end.
You're talking about even like Lola and Max?
I mean, they're thieves. They just start who they are.
Right.
Max and Stan for sure. Lola wants to get out of life. She wants to just settle down with Max. And obviously Sophie is a good cop who kind of just gets caught in the middle of it and doesn't get her own kind of ending. She doesn't get her own denouement.
Yeah, she's there for...
She gets tossed out.
She's there for Stan's love interest, and then that just peters out.
Yeah.
Like, it would make more sense, and again, we don't like to rewrite films, but it would make more sense if Stan ended up staying in the island and becoming their neighbor and living, you know what I mean? Like, that would make more sense.
I remember the ending. As soon as it was getting toward the end, I was like, I remember how this ends. I remember it being a little different where it ends up either Lola ends up with Stan and Sophie with Max, or like they do end up being couple friends on the island. That's how I remember it. So I mean, obviously it's been 20 years since this movie came out. So it's
we're so old.
It's okay for me to get this wrong.
No,
but
never okay.
Right. I thought it ended different too, where they became couple friends. And I also forgot that Don Cheadle's character isn't actually in the movie.
Yeah, let's talk about Henry Moray, Don Cheadle's character, because I just kept thinking this is the same character from Out of Sight when he was Snoop.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is just like if Snoop
went to the Caribbean and tried to reinvent himself.
Was in the Out of Sight movie. Yeah, went to the Caribbean.
Yeah.
Like that's exactly what it felt like. And I was like phoning it in. I felt like it was a lot of that. It was like, hey, Don, we need you to work for 2-3 weeks down here in the Caribbean. Can you do this? Yeah, no problem.
It's a vacation movie. Yeah. Like every Adam Sandler movie.
His whole premise, his whole like what he was trying to do, his whole like BS about the community. It was for him to get rich and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Just ends. And so they can have that, like you said at the end, where the gun to the head kind of thing, where he threatens them. It was just...
It could have been done a little more clever. Could have been done a little more like how like an Ocean's 11 would finish him off. Like there would be a twist where Max...
That's the thing. For a heist film, and you said this before, so I'm not really saying anything we haven't already heard. For a heist film, it's very surface level twists and very
just see the Rick and Morty heist episode. I love that episode. It's not wrong.
Yeah, it's not like, and not that. I mean, it's something like this. I guess you want an Ocean's 11 type thing.
That's
12,
the thing. It's like, that's for as much as like that episode of Rick and Morty was crapping on heists. I still like heist movies, even though they are cliche.
When they're
like
done,
that.
like even
so, you want more twists in it, and I think that there needs to be this, not just Stan setting up Max. I mean, Max's plan to have that fake scuba diver, who I assume was Luke.
It was the bartender.
Yeah, to have Luke in the scuba diving suit pretending to be Max. That was clever, but it was a twist that was happening while it was happening. But you need that kind of undercut of like, but then while you were doing this, I was doing this.
Also, that's way too long. Like,
that whole sequence takes way too long. Yeah. Let me follow you, Max. Where are you, Max?
I mean, come on, for an hour. I mean, clearly he's down there for an hour or 45 minutes. There's no way. There's no way. It's such a bad cover.
Yeah, I didn't like that either.
Yeah. No, I wasn't a fan. Did you know that John Stockwell, Cougar from Top Gun, was slated to direct this, but dropped out in 2003? So Ratner came in and kind of...
I didn't even know he was a director.
Here's the other thing too. Like, Ratner has a history of coming in and helping the studio. He did it for X-Men 3 or whatever the frig that was called.
Last Stand was
he's done it for a couple other films where he just comes in and
fixes the problem.
Yeah, like subs in. Like, I'll do it. Like,
he's the fixer. He's like a Hollywood script doctor, but he's a director doctor.
Oh yeah, no. Now it also said one of my notes as well. Excuse me, is that the music is there's a theme from the Bourne Identity in this film.
I saw that note. I didn't see it. I think that's just people picking out notes. That's like anytime anybody plays like do do, I go, that's James Bond. It's not necessarily just happens to be those two notes that strung together sound like James Bond, and they're so in your brain that you hear them. That person probably likes, I believe, John Powell, but John Powell scores so much that he just hears it wherever he is.
Well, the movie next week too. I mean, there's a lot of scores. It's specifically,
but that's definitely trying to be. Yeah.
My other last form, because not a lot of facts for this film. My last fact was that, and this goes to it not doing well, was it opened third in its opening weekend, and because it was Incredibles was still won in its second weekend, then Polar Express was number 2. So
yeah, it
didn't have a shot.
It came out at a bad time, and like you were saying though, they probably didn't figure that it was going to be a bad time.
Right. And also, I'd like to also put a little thing out there. There's a scene in the movie where Stan tells Naomi Harris's character that, everything hurts on him. And he's like, oh, right there. And she kisses him there. And he's like, oh, right here. So kisses the eye. Stop stealing Raiders of the Lost Ark stuff, okay? Stop. This is the third film I've seen where we've done the kiss here. Kiss on my lips. Oh, it hurts right here. It hurts right here. Enough already. Enough. Sorry.
Raiders stole from everything else. As much as, I love Raiders.
Raiders stole from stuff in the 40s, Butler. That was 80 years ago. All right, that's the statute of limits.
Whoa, but when it was made, it was 40 years ago.
My youth.
And okay, now, when this movie came out, Raiders was 40 years old. So
you're old. What you're telling me is you're really old.
I'm saying you're really old.
I don't care.
As well.
Fine. Good. I'm glad I saw Jurassic Park in the theater on opening night with everybody there. All you people that love Jurassic Park and you saw it at home, on home video.
This rant happened last week.
Did it really?
Yes.
Did it really? On a decent proposal?
Yeah. We're talking about movies coming out in 1993.
Never mind.
That's exact rant.
Fine. Anyways, stop stealing from Raiders. Just stop.
How rude of it. Talking about that scene, how rude is it for them to just walk through a crowd of people celebrating their heritage to just have these two white guys going, this parade doesn't matter. I'm going to walk through these guys blowing the horn, doing the drums. You wouldn't do that. I don't like all the but they do. Because in movies like this, like The Fugitive and stuff, they're walking through the parades, not caring like it's no, but like you'd get stopped. No one's just letting you walk through these parades. Somebody's going,
that's true.
Yo, buddy.
Especially now.
Yeah.
I guess there's a note where that same parade, that same celebration.
The Junkin' celebrations in a previous James Bond movie.
Yeah. Which one? Which James Bond?
It's one of the Connery ones. I believe the scene takes place at night. I don't remember exactly which one.
Okay, it's definitely a Connery one.
I'm pretty sure it's a Connery one, although it could be a more.
They're
always in the Caribbean so often.
Well, that's the
but
thing.
There is a scene I'm remembering.
I always think of the episode. I always think of the James Bond with Yaphet Kotto where they're fighting the voodoo, like right there, like voodoo or fake voodoo or something like that. I always think of that.
I don't think that's the Junkin' because that's got a lot more like big effigies of things.
I don't know. I always just think of that when we talk about.
The note didn't say which James Bond it was.
It probably did. I probably just didn't write it down.
I'm on it.
While you're looking at that, then
you got it.
In the beginning of the film, Max gets shot, and
Junkanoo was in Thunderball, so it was a Sean Connery.
Okay. All right,
yep.
Back to what I was saying.
Okay.
Max gets shot. Lola saves the bullet. Well, this is my question. She hides it in the whatever. She hides it, and then when Stan goes in there, steals it, and blah blah blah. And she's like, "Oh my god, he's got the bullet." He's like, "That's the only thing that ties me to that robbery." My point is, though, before that, we just found out that they are in a place where there's no jurisdiction. There's no jurisdiction. Jesus, there's no jurisdiction where they are. So what does it matter if they find the bullet?
There's no jurisdiction. He doesn't have jurisdiction to arrest him if he commits a crime.
They're in a place where
extradition.
They're in a place where they can't. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, no, he has no. He can't arrest him. So what does it matter if he finds a bullet down there?
Well, if he ever leaves the Caribbean, he's got him. That's right.
I guess. Well, then don't leave.
Well, I think that's the big thing about Max at the beginning is he's not enjoying his retirement. He doesn't like being in the Caribbean,
which is ridiculous.
He doesn't have a hobby. He's not a sunset guy.
Yeah, you're right.
He's too type A. He can't figure anything out. He's got nothing, no hobbies, nothing he can do.
Mm-hmm.
Lola's building a deck. She's doing yoga classes. She's doing tennis lessons. She's going scuba diving. She's going snorkeling. She's
meeting people.
She's making something of herself. She's trying to live a life. And Max's life is just thievery.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Also, I've never heard of a Caribbean boat having like a museum piece as an exhibit that's going.
I don't know. I don't go on enough cruises like zero to know whatever is going on out there. So who knows?
I've never heard of it. I've never been on. Yeah,
they might. I mean, I'm sure they do. Did you like the "Don't Ask, Don't Tell" joke? You remember?
Oh yeah, and when they catch the two of them in bed.
Yeah. I was like, ugh, okay.
I know we have a don't ask, don't tell joke. This is taking it too far. That's 2004.
It wasn't funny.
It's just kind of like,
yeah, exactly. It wasn't that funny, and I was just like, come on, this is dumb. I mean, there's so many other things you could say here they're far funnier.
I think they could have been snuggling a little bit more. I think that would have been funnier if they caught him like really more like.
What would have been funny is if like one of the agents was like, "Oh, I didn't know Stan." Like, and then like that would have been funny. Like right there, that's off the top of my head. Very angry today. Did you notice
Pierce Brosnan's coolers were filled with Heineken?
I did that. Like, After the Sunset, brought to you by Heineken,
which is James Bond's, the official beer of James Bond. I'm wondering if they couldn't have another brand of beer. while Pierce Brosnan is still James Bond, I'm wondering if he can't drink beer other than
Maybe.
Heineken, no matter what.
Well, this movie came about because Ratner was supposed to do one of the Bonds and fell through.
Yep.
And then Brosnan still wanted to work with him. So that's why they did this movie. So
yeah, I saw that.
maybe.
But yeah, I was wondering if maybe Pierce Brosnan was contracted.
That's you're contracted to have the same beer everywhere. You can't be seen
while you're Bond. Yeah. I mean, I do like Heineken.
You'd have to go back to all the Daniel Craig movies now and see when he was not Bond in the other movies.
He does mention that when he wrapped at Casino Royale, Judi Dench's present to him was a 6-pack of Guinness. So I was like, oh, I wonder if he was allowed to say that.
I wonder if he was not. Maybe
Heineken.
you're not even allowed to be photographed or.
That's what I'm wondering. Yeah, until after you're done being
unless
Bond.
it's in a glass. Just they say don't hold
hidden,
the can.
yeah.
Don't let anyone see that you're. Yeah. That's wow. That's interesting.
And then it would have to be the same with Grey Goose. No, Smirnoff.
Was his Grey Goose? Well,
Smirnoff
is Tag Hoover watches or
vodka
the other thing, right?
Omega.
Yeah, Omega. Okay, Omega. Okay.
But they give you free watches, so why wouldn't you just wear the Omega?
No,
watches?
I know. Speaking of the scene where they were putting lotion on each other, and then they get the shark on the boat.
Catch
Which is
the
funny. You're shooting holes in your boat.
That's probably not his. It's probably a rental. You have the right to remain silent.
So Ty Burr of the Boston Globe says saw the film's potential as a quote decent heist flick during the opening robbery scene, but felt it devolves into a plotless drag involving sightseeing and female ogling in the Bahamas.
I mean, there's female ogling. There's a lot of female ogling, but I don't think it devolved into just. It is sightseeing. It's an ad for the Caribbean, but I don't think it plods. I don't think it's boring. The scuba diving part's a little slow.
I think the ogling is obviously for Lola, for Selma Hayek's character, but also every time they're in talking with Moray, Don Cheadle's character, there's just random shots of women in bikinis walking around. I mean, I get it, but like you're inside. Peter Howell for Toronto Star gave note of the script feeling bare bones within its given genre and moving, quote, unsteadily between crime drama and romantic farce, and Ratner's direction matching in it terms of tonal whiplash and coming across like a tourist infomercial, calling it, quote, one of the most lackadaisical Hollywood projects of the year. So this is 2004 he's saying this.
I don't know. I don't have big problems with this movie.
I don't say I have problems with the movie. I just think it's a whole lot of nothing. It's a big fat nothing burger more than you think it is. That's what I'm saying.
I just think it's a fun ride.
I'm saying it's empty calories. That's what I'm saying. Empty calories.
All right.
That's all I'm saying.
I'm not hanging my hat on this movie.
No, you will.
Yeah.
You will. You picked it. Scott Tobias.
Technically, you picked this.
No, I picked Indecent Proposal. You picked this film.
I was getting rid of this movie on the list.
Movies on the big list doesn't count as picking movies on the big list. Picking movies. You chose this film for Forgotten Cinema.
I just need to get it out of there.
You take it. Scott Tobias from the AV Club criticized Ratner and Zabiskie for making a pale revision of Michael Mann's Heat that sidesteps the heist and interesting characters, I know, for more macho posturing and homophobic humor between its two male leads. This is nothing like Heat.
No, there are so many other heist movies you can compare this to.
I feel like Tobias had a bet to get Heat into like every critique he does of movies. And this is
just because there's a cop who's going after and he meets the criminal. This is more like a heist movie. It's more like Cool Hand Luke or something like.
I mean, like just compare it to movies that aren't as good. Like Swordfish is like one of those heist films, but it's not that great. Yeah. Did I say I liked it? Yeah. Did I say I liked it? I'm saying compare it to films that are around its time period.
Yeah.
Compare it to like a David Mamet film, a Heist. I don't even know if Heist came out around this time, but compare it to or what's the one with Edward Norton and De Niro when they put the water in the safe to blow out the safe. What the heck is the name of that movie?
That was around. That was probably a couple years later, but I know what you're talking about. The Score.
Yeah.
Score.
There we go.
The Score is actually earlier, 2001.
See, there you go. I mean, like that compared to a like.
Yeah.
So I guess why are we saying it's forgotten, Butler?
Because it's candy. It's forgettable.
I already said candy.
Yeah, but you're not wrong. I think that's exactly right.
It's extremely forgettable.
I think it was a fun watch. I enjoyed watching it. But like if we weren't recording this movie today, I would have just completely blanked on the movie I watched the night before. It would just been like, all right, I'm going back my life. It's not affecting me. I'm just going to continue. That was a decent, hour and a half, a fun way to spend the night. And now I'm done.
Let's be honest. If we didn't have to do this film, if we weren't doing this movie for the podcast, I would never watch this film again. Not because I refuse to watch it, because I would never think of to watch it. It's never on anywhere.
Yeah. I'm not saying, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, in terms of its staying power and like being in the top of your mind, it's.
But of course, with this show, we always talk about you should always look back and revisit it. So
I think it's fun to watch stuff that's like the early 2000s and had different things on.
If you like Three Musketeers and Snickers and whatchamacallit in your films, then you will love this movie.
Woody Harrelson and Pierce Brosnan are really good. I think Selma Hayek. I didn't realize Naomi Harris is as old as she is. I didn't realize she'd been old enough to do this movie. Not that she's old, but like I didn't realize she was your age. I thought she's your age.
What, 39? 39? All right.
39. Yeah. I thought she was closer to my age. And I was like, this is 2000. I was still in school then.
Well, that's because you remember her from the James Bond films.
Right.
So that's where she first kind of like, oh, wow. You don't realize that she was in a bunch of other stuff. That's kind of like Glenn Powell being really big right now. But he's been
doing stuff in a long time. Yeah.
I get it. Yeah, I think you're right. I think like come for the acting kind of thing. The heist stuff, the plot stuff is just kind of like, if you like the location, you'll like the location. You'll be like, I want that deck. Oh, I want that. I want to live in
their
that
beach house, which they built the beach house for the movie.
Yeah. Did they tear it down though, right? Because it wasn't up to code or something?
No, that's going to be in our next. That's for our next movie.
Okay. We double book sometimes. So yeah, all the time. But anyways, I think this movie, my biggest reaction to this movie was, I could live here. I mean, I can't eat all that fish. So I'm a vegetarian, so I have to find some other way to.
I'm sure they have vegetarian options for you.
Let's hope.
I mean, you have to buy it from the grocery store. I don't know how many diamonds you're stealing where you're living at the Ritz the whole time.
The Ritz. Who would you suggest this to?
People.
You kind of already said it a little bit.
People who like, popcorn flicks. People who like Pierce Brosnan or Woody Harrelson or just like heist movies.
Sure.
People who want to double book on their like Saturday movie watch and watch something light after something heavy.
Does anyone do 2 movies a night anymore for movie night? I do.
Probably.
If I could. If I could start the movie at 7:38, I will do 2 movies a night, but I can never really get any movies started at 7 or 8.
I keep trying to get Elise to do like movie nights because I have so many Blu-rays that have just been like stacked up that I'm like, you gotta watch this one, you gotta watch this one.
Yeah.
So like we've done like 2 in the last like 6 months, where if I can get her started early enough, we'll do like 2 or 3 movies and be like set up, let's watch this one first and this one second and this one third. And we do organize like, well, this one's heavy, so let's watch this one second.
Sure. Between 2 and then she falls asleep.
Surprisingly no, but you have to start it at like 11:30 in the morning so that they're done by like before dinner.
I like
time.
a nice Sunday morning movie. I like that. Like I don't mind that, but I have to do so much yard work and everything. So it's
also got to do it like a rainy day.
Well, anyways, all right. So where can they find us?
You can find us at ForgottenCinemaPodcast.com or right here wherever you're listening to or watching this. While you're here, please like, rate, subscribe, all that good stuff. It really does help the channel grow. And if you're so inclined, you can join us on Patreon. It's free to join. You get invited to our Discord group where you can talk movies with us. Let us know what you think of After the Sunset or heist movies or Pierce Brosnan or Woody Harrelson or Naomi Harris or Selma Hayek, all that kind of good stuff. And then if you want to support us even more, we have tiers on our Patreon where we give out, free stickers, merch coupons. There's exclusive episodes. You get early access to episodes of this show and you get exclusive episodes just for Patreons, like our lead up series. We're right now smack dab in the middle of covering the Alien series. In fact, I believe we're actually at the end of it. We filmed so far ahead. It might be over.
As
we're on something else right now.
As we're recording this, we haven't even started. So now that he says that, I'm like, oh, we got to watch like 8 films. Right?
So yeah.
9, 8. All right. 9. Yeah. Join us next week as season 8 rolls on. We're going to be doing the 2000 film, What Lies Beneath. And so I think we're going to be fighting a little bit about that. Not as much as Brother thinks, but I think we're going to be fighting a little bit on that one. So that's next week. Director Robert Zemeckis, stars Harrison Ford, Michelle Pfeiffer, as I wipe a gnat away from my face. That's it. See you next week. I'm looking forward to it. Should be fun. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I'm Mike Field.
I'm Mike Butler.
And this has been Forgotten Cinema.